Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Betslip. I am checking in on my vacation here. I got this is not a painting in the background. This is actually a window. I'm in the tropical paradise of Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, and this is what it looks like outside. So I'm wearing my nice summer shirt. I got a nice, beautiful window behind me. I'm joined by Donnavan, Smoot. We got a packed show today, talking MLB, I believe a little WNBA, a little Wimbledon. Little Jake Paul with his fight being announced officially against Tommy Fury coming up in a couple months. And of course, we got community picks, bad beats, and all that good stuff. Donnavan, how are you doing today? I hope that your internet holds out because last time we had a show together, your internet did not keep up. Do you think your internet is up for the task today?
Yes, I do. I do think that it's up for the task. I don't think that there's anybody in the neighborhood that's working on it. So yeah, listen, I'm excited. Appreciate you coming in on your vacation. Giving the people what they need, which is the best bets and the best picks on the internet. So I'm excited for today's show.
All right, I love it. And as always, if you're watching on Twitter, be sure to head over to YouTube. You can live comment on the show. If you have any other picks for tonight, let us know. Or if you have any questions for any games that we don't touch on, but of course, as always, we will jump into it with the bad beat of the day, which I had to do a little searching for this one because I will be honest, I haven't bet a whole lot the past, 10 days. But I did find this one, and this one all-time bad beat. Just a brutal bad beat is in the Tigers and Giants last night. If you're on the first five, under 3.5, I believe I saw Will Hill tweet this one out. I believe he was on it. 2-0 score in the bottom of the fifth. 2 outs. You need one more out if you had the under 3.5. And the next series of events was Darren Ruff walked. Evan Longoria hit an infield single on a bunt. And then a wild pitch sent the runners to third base and second base. And then a 2-run single broke the hearts of under 3.5 first 5 inning betters. Because right there it went from 2-0 to 4-0, I believe. And that was it. That was the bet. So that series of events, it was a walk, an infield single on a bunt, which I don't even know how that happens, a wild pitch, and then a 2-run single. That is the official bad beat of the day. Shout out to Beers and Bow Ties in the chat. He's watching, putting in a little beer emoji. I like that. I've been drinking a lot of them on my vacation. I might have another one tonight. We'll see. That was a bad beat of the day. Now we're going to jump right into some community picks. We tweeted out, as always, looking for some Twitter best bets for tonight. So I'm interested to dive into these. I believe they're all in Major League Baseball. But don't worry, because we are going to get into some other sports. Because Donnavan, when we get to your picks here in a little bit, you got a Wimbledon bet, and then I believe 2 WNBA picks. So no MLB or no NHL or NBA left anymore. So we got to dig into some other sports, and we are going to dig into a few of them today, and also have a golf matchup pick coming up too. But first, let's get into the Twitter community picks. Let's bring up the first one for tonight. Coming in from DJ at Go DJ. That's my DJ. I don't know how I feel about that. Twitter name, Atlanta -1.5, +120. Suarez, 4.44. Sierra, Atlanta, 809 OPS versus lefties this year. So this is a run line bet. The Braves are taking on the Phillies. And my big takeaway, I just quickly looked into this game. I don't have a personal bet for this game. But Braves have actually been fantastic on both sides of the both offensively and defensively this month. Fourth best average, second best OPS in June, second best bullpen ERA in June, which is huge. Donnavan, any thoughts on this pick? Braves run line against the Phillies.
Yeah, listen, I'm down. I'm down with it. Obviously, like the Braves, they've, I guess, resurrected themselves out of nothing, and you look at the run differential on the season, they're +46 on the season, which is in the top 10 of all of baseball, right? And so you think about the type of start that they had and everything that they've been able to do over like the last month and a half or so, and just how dominant they've been. Yeah, I'll take them on the run line.
Yeah, I like that. Obviously, run differential big for not only for teams to win games on money lines, but those runs come in handy when it's a run line bet for sure. All right, let's bring up the second community pick for tonight. Tyler at Tyler Schlaughter. Tyler underscore Schlauder. Simple. It's Dylan Bundy Day. Guardians minus 110. Yeah, we have a couple bets on this game. I think there's another community pick we'll get to. And I have a bet on this game as well. But with kind of a not so great MLB slate tonight, a lot of people are looking at this game. A lot of people are looking at Dylan Bundy. To be fair, though, I will give Dylan Bundy some credit before I potentially crap on him here in a few minutes. 2 good starts in a row. Only allowed, I believe, 1 earned run in each of the last 2 starts. To be fair, those starts came against the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. And to support kind of the Guardians pick, they do have the 3rd best batting average against right-handed pitchers this year. And Dylan Bundy is, of course, a righty. I do have another very interesting Dylan Bundy tidbit to share, but I'll give that out when I talk about my pick for this game. So, Donnavan, are you fading Dylan Bundy today? How do you feel about that?
I am fading Dylan Bundy. And, for everybody, when we were thinking about, what was going to be the game of the night, I had suggested this game. You came out and was like a Knicks thing. You said, no, it's Dylan Bundy Day. We're going to fade him. We're not going to support Dylan Bundy in any type of way. And so I will tell your pick, and I will fade Dylan Bundy tonight.
All right, I like it. Let's bring up the 3rd community pick for tonight. This coming in from Practical Picks at Practical_Picks. He's submitted a handful of picks on this show, and I feel like they've usually done well, but this is another pick on the Guardians and Twins game over 8.5. I mean, there are several ways that you can fade Dylan Bundy. This isn't a total fade of Dylan Bundy because obviously if the Twins get some runs and their offense has been good lately, that's going to help the total, the full game total go over as well. We already talked about this game. I have more comments when I get to this pick myself. So Donnavan, unless you have any final comments about this pick, we'll move on to the final community pick for tonight.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
All right. Let's bring up the 4th and final. One more MLB pick from the community. Benny at 3rd and Ben says Manoah under 5.5 strikeouts. Now, he has a little breakdown for this pick. He says the Red Sox have the lowest strikeout rate against righties over the last 2+ weeks. Manoah hovers around that number a lot, but has been going deeper into starts with quicker at-bats to contact as the season has progressed. I know, Donnavan, you have actually a similar pick or a pick on Manoah's strike prop, so I'll save your comments until we get to that pick later on the show. My general feelings about that, I mean, first of all, you're trashing my guy, Alek Manoah. I will not stand for that. But, I mean, yeah, Red Sox strikeout percentage against righties over 2 weeks, like 2+ weeks. Like, is that a big enough sample size? Or should you look for a little bit of a bigger sample size? Maybe the entire month of June, maybe the whole season, maybe the last 2 months. 2 weeks, I don't know if that's a big enough sample size to base off of a bet, but I won't argue against it too much. What do I know? We'll see. Another pick submitted in the comments here, Beers and Bowtie says Kyle Wright over 5.5 strikeouts, plus 119. Kyle Wright going for the Braves against the Phillies. Let's take a quick little look at the Phillies strikeout rate so far this season. Obviously, this is full season. They're right in the middle, striking out over at 22.4% of their at-bats, but dipped over their last 3 games. Small sample size, of course, but that has gone up to 24.1% over their last 3 games. So, I mean, if you're looking for plus money, might be a pretty good plus money prop there for Kyle Wright over 5.5 strikeouts. Obviously, a big depender on that is just how deep into the start he goes. If guys get lit up and get pulled after 3 innings, it's going to be tough to hit that over, but I don't hate that bet whatsoever. I like Kyle Wright. I like the Braves starting pitching staff in general. I like him. Whenever I think about the Braves, I miss Mike Soroka. I want him back in the lineup. All right, let's get into our picks, Donnavan. I have 2 in Major League Baseball tonight. You have, I believe, 1 in Wimbledon, and then 2 in the WNBA. When is that Wimbledon? Let's jump into the Wimbledon one here first, Donnavan. When is it? Because it's over in England. So is it tonight? Is it tomorrow morning? When is it? And then break down the pick for us.
Yeah, so this is actually an early morning pick. This match is going to start tomorrow, and so this is some 3rd round action for you on Wimbledon side. But I'm going to go with Simona Halep and Kirsten Flipkens under 19.5 games. And the reason why I'm picking it is because I think Simona Halep is going to dominate, but she's minus 800 on the money line, and even to win in straight sets, she's minus 240. So I figured we're gonna go with the games, trying to get a little bit of value for this back. And Halep and Flipkins, they've played each other 5 times in their career. Halep has beaten her all 5 times and beaten her in straight sets every single match. And the matches haven't really been particularly close. And so for Flipkins to for this match to hit the over, I'm assuming that Halep is gonna do what she's done the last 5 times and beat her in straight sets. Flipkins is either gonna have to get a set herself, or she's gonna have to win 8 games and try to get this to be like either a 7-5 and a 6-3 or 2-6-4 sets. And I just don't trust her to do it. And so I'm gonna take the under here. It's still going to give us a little bit of leeway, even if Flipkins can grab a couple games off of her. But Halep has shown throughout her career that Flipkins isn't really a match for her. So I'm going to back her tomorrow morning.
Do you find that you lean more towards like total over under games earlier in the tournament when kind of sometimes there's big money line favorites, and then as we get down to the last few rounds, you switch more to like money line bets? Is that generally your strategy, or do you favor one kind of bet over the other, or how do you bet on these tennis tournaments?
No, so and I'm really glad you asked that. And Reed and I were talking about this on Friday coming into the tournament. We gave out our keys to bet Wimbledon, and one of the keys was that in the early rounds you do want to look at the over under, because you're going to get a lot of these matchups where you get minus 800 on the money line. Like Novak Djokovic on all of his matches, he's minus 10,000 on a lot of these, and so you're just not going to find a lot of value unless you go to the over under and do that way. Once we start getting more, I usually go it's more like over unders, and then we start looking at exact set scores, and then we can start going towards money lines. But even if we're talking about the big names and the big favorites late in the tournament, like if you're betting on a Novak Djokovic or on an Iga Swiatek on the women's side, they're going to be major favorites the entire way. Like Swiatek was minus 500 in the final of the French Open against Coco Gauff. So you're still going to want to, check the over under and see if you can find some value there.
Cody Wells chiming in with another community pick here. He says Teoscar Hernandez under 0.5 hits. So for him to not record a hit tonight at plus 145, he says he's batting under 100 against Pavetta. Interesting, Cody. You'll have to let us know if that is that this season, because I know Pavetta has pitched against the Blue Jays twice this season. Is that career? But hey, if you're looking for a stat to back a plus 145 bet, I like that quite a bit, although it does kind of go against what my pick and what my reasoning is for the Jays game, which I will get to later at the show, because at the end of the show, we're going to talk the game of the night, which is the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. But let's jump over I'll break down 2 of my MLB games. Donnavan will go back to you for WNBA, and then I'll finish up with a little John Deere Classic matchup bet. So for my first MLB game for tonight, let's just touch on the game that's already been talked about a couple times already. That is the Guardians and the Twins. We had one guy taking Guardians. We had practical picks going with the full game over. I'm going just team total. Let me just fade Dylan Bundy here real quick. I'll go over for minus 120, not getting too fancy with it whatsoever. This is the stat that I found about Dylan Bundy today. It's his home against his road splits. At home this season, 2.10 ERA, 0.93 whip. A 200 opponent batting average. So as much as I like to, make fun and chirp of Dylan Bundy, you might not want to fade him when he's pitching at home. Tonight, though, he is on the road, and on the road this season, 6.82 ERA, 1.54 whip, and a 315 opponent batting average. Teams are batting over 300 against Dylan Bundy when he's pitching on the road. Not good. Not good, Donnavan. And also the Twins' 19th in bullpen ERA. So if Dylan Bundy does somehow get through the start, and I mentioned his last 2 starts have been solid, but if he manages to not give up 4 runs, the Twins' bullpen will then come in, and they have been in the bottom half of the majors this season. So I'm going to go team total over. That's how I'm going to bet this game. Over 4 at minus 120. You kind of have that safety net, too, of it being potentially a push if it only gets to 4. My second MLB bet for tonight, going with an underdog. I love underdogs, especially Major League Baseball. This is one that I like quite a bit tonight. It is the White Sox at plus 170 against the Angels. It is one strategy that I've had this season, is to fade teams when an all-star stud pitcher is starting. I've done it before this season with Garrett Cole. I've done it with Shohei Ohtani at least once this season. Because sometimes when people see that a guy like Shohei Ohtani is, getting the start, they automatically go ahead and bet them. I think sometimes it makes their teams a little bit overvalued because there's more to winning baseball games than just a starting pitcher. Obviously, starting pitcher is important, but there's offense, there's bullpen, there's a lot of other aspects, and especially offensively, White Sox have been much, much better in the month of June. Second in batting average, 8th in OPS so far this month. Angels all the way down at 27th and 28th in those two, respectively. And Michael Kopech, obviously I'm not going to say he's a better, overall pitcher than the reigning MVP in Ohtani, but he does have a better ERA this season, ERA of 2.59. I believe Ohtani's at 2.9. So if you're looking for a big underdog, outside of the obvious, fact that Shohei Ohtani is starting tonight and the fact that he's gone 2 straight scoreless starts now when pitching, plus 170, kind of like that price for a heavy underdog on the White Sox tonight. And I believe that's the final game of the night too, if you're looking for a little late night sweat.
Listen,
Thoughts on that game, Donnavan?
I'm all for it. The Angels have been they've been able to recover after that insanely long losing streak, but they've kind of been, like you said, they've been a mess for kind of the better part of 2 months. So you see Chicago trying to build their way back into the AL Central race. I'm with it, especially at this price.
All right, I love it. So let's switch over to some WNBA. You and Ben Heisler have been crushing these bets so far this season. I believe you have 2 of them for tonight. Are they both tonight? I believe they're both tonight,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
All right,
both tonight.
Dive into them.
All right, first game, and listen, these are two of the there's 3 games on tonight's slate. These are 2 of them. The first one comes from 2 of the best teams, the Chicago Sky and the Connecticut Sun, and I'm taking the Sky as slight favorites today. They're minus 1.5 point favorites, and I'm taking them because they come into this game, they're riding really high. They've won 3 straight. The first game of that streak was coming back from 28 points down against the Aces on the road, and they haven't even lost consecutive games all season long. They are extremely consistent. They beat the Sun 3 weeks ago, and I think that they're going to do it again. The tough part when you're looking at what this matchup is going to bring is that it's really just heavyweights versus heavyweights. The Sun statistically are the second best team in the league. They're top 3 in offensive and defensive rating. They have the best net rating in the league. The only thing that I get worried about them with is that they show a little bit of inconsistency against the other teams early on in the season, and even now they've lost a couple games against the other top teams. You talk about the Sky, and they've lost some games like that. So I think Chicago at home is going to be able to pull a close one out, and so I'm going to take the Sky to cover there. And then the second one is I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Aces, who they're the best team in the league by basically every metric. But tonight they are road underdogs to the Seattle Storm. They're plus 100 even money underdogs to Seattle. And I just think that they have too much firepower for what Seattle does. Seattle likes to play. They like to play slow. They like a good defensive battle, good rock fight. However, when you look at what Las Vegas does, they get out in transition. They put up a lot of shots. They get a lot of possessions on the board. I don't think Seattle is going to be able to keep up with that. Las Vegas, they scored the most points in the league, while Seattle scores the 3rd fewest points in the league. I think that eventually, if you're going to get into a shootout, you're going to have to be able to score points, and Seattle just isn't great at that. So I think Las Vegas is being undervalued here. So I'm going to take them again as money line underdogs tonight.
All right, so there you go. There are our best bets for tonight. I believe we have a little recap graphic to recap those. Oh, never mind. I still have the golf pick. I got the golf pick, not for tonight. So the bets for tonight are already given out. We got golf tomorrow. John Deere Classic. I forgot about that one. It is a matchup bet. I did write an article over at BetSided with 3 different matchup bets for this tournament. So if you want to see my other 2, head over there and check out that article. But my favorite one, going to give out the one that is plus money, and I'm going to back my fellow Canadian in honor of Canada Day, which is in 2 days here. Plus 125 for a full tournament head-to-head against Webb Simpson. I think Webb Simpson, who is somehow the betting favorite in this tournament, that just goes to show how ugly this field is this week. But I think he's only favorite both in the tournament and in this matchup because of name recognition. He's probably the only guy in the field this week who the average sports fan would recognize. I don't think his numbers this season warrant his price either as the favorite to win the tournament or in the matchup against Adam Hadwin. Hadwin outranks Simpson in every single area of the game except for off the tee, but with how wide the fairways are at TPC Deer Run, that's not going to really hurt Hadwin that much. He ranks 34th in total strokes gained this season. Webb Simpson ranks all down at 48th. So statistically, Hadwin has been the much better golfer. Obviously, Simpson has the bigger name. That is going to make him a little bit more overvalued. So I'll back my fellow Canadian here, Adam Hadwin, plus 125 in a full tournament matchup bet against Webb Simpson. Like I said, I have two others that I've locked in. Head over to BetSided to check out with the other two ones that I'm on for this week. There you have it. That starts tomorrow morning. The other picks that we gave out were for tonight. So let's go ahead and recap those picks if we can. MLB, I'm on over 4 for the Guardians team total against the Twins. White Sox as plus 170 underdogs against the Angels. Hadwin plus 125 in the John Deere Classic in a head-to-head against Webb Simpson. Donnavan, you are on under 19.5 games against Simona Halep and Kirsten Flipkins. Sky minus 1.5 against the Sun, and Aces money line against the Storm. So there are our best bets for tonight. Let's talk some, I want to say celebrity boxing, but it's not really celebrity boxing with Jake Paul anymore.
Yeah, it's actually some real fights.
It is real fights. He is a guy who I did not give any respect. I think I've picked against him in every single fight of his so far, but I think this might be the first time that I might be betting on him, and I think this is the first time, maybe not though, now that I think about it, that he's set as an underdog. He is set to fight Tommy Fury. It's not going to happen until August. But with, I believe, is announced either this past weekend or earlier this week that this fight is official. I figured that we'd talk a little Jake Paul boxing action because he is 5-0. Obviously, he's known as, I think he became famous on Vine, Donnavan. And then he's a big YouTuber. Got into boxing. Everyone thought it was a joke. Everyone thought he wouldn't take it seriously. It was even labeled celebrity boxing his first fight. But now here he is, 5-0, coming off 2 straight wins against a former UFC champion in Tyron Woodley. He is, I will say, I found some odds, some consensus odds. He's a plus 105 underdog, so Tommy Fury is a slight favorite. Fury is 8-0 in his boxing career, and he is the half-brother of the heavyweight boxing champion, Tyson Fury. So, Donnavan, give me your thoughts on this whole Jake Paul thing. Where are you at?
Okay, so here's where I'm at. I'm still holding out. I'm still not a full Jake Paul believer because again, a majority of his fights, he had the two Willie fights, but a majority of his fights have been celebrity boxing matches. You know, he goes and he knocks out Nate Robinson, who's I think Jake Paul is over 6 feet tall. I think Nate Robinson is 5'9". And so you get a lot of these things that just feel like it's a lot of promotion, a lot of hoopla. So I'm not 100% sure, how this is going to go or buying into the fact that he's a real boxer. But if you look at the stuff that Tommy Fury's done, and if you look at the fights that he's been a part of, I mean, Tommy Fury's 8-0. He's fighting bums, dude. He's fighting some bums. He has his last fight, Daniel Bochansky, I think. I'm sorry, I know I just botched that name. So he was 10-1. After that, Anthony Taylor is 0-1. He fought a dude who was 2-0. After that, the 6 fighters before that had a combined 12 wins. With the first person he ever fought, his record is 10-102-3. He fought a dude with 100 losses to his name.
Guys, he's a professional tomato can of a boxer.
He's a professional loser. He's a professional loser. That's
wild.
I can't trust what Tommy Fury's done on his side. So I think I might go your route and I might bet on Jake Paul just because if I'm being cynical, maybe the whole thing is rigged and everything is just a money grab and we're just gonna prop up the celebrity and this and that. But I I don't have a lot of faith in Tommy Fury. If that's I would have more faith in up for himself rather than Tommy Fury coming out here and actually showing that he could do this.
Yeah, here's the thing with my take on Jake Paul is as much as I don't like him, I'm not going to watch his content. He's doing this whole boxing thing so intelligently because his first fight, like it's been a natural progression all the way through. His first fight was against Anna Eason Gibb, who I think is he a YouTuber? Like I think he fought a fellow YouTuber in his first fight. Then he upgraded and fought a professional athlete, but not one in combat sports, and Nate Robinson, obviously basketball player. Then he fought a UFC fighter, but a UFC fighter who was not known for his striking, Ben Askren, who was always known for his wrestling, his grappling. Then he fought a UFC fighter who was known for his striking, but was still never a boxer, in Tyron Woodley, because boxing and MMA is a completely different style of striking. Obviously fought Tyron Woodley a second time after the first fight was a split decision, knocked him out the second time, knocked him out cold, a guy who won a UFC belt and was known for his, punching power. Now the next logical step is to fight an actual boxer, but fight a bad actual boxer. So to me, the storyline in this fight is now he's going to fight a guy who has trained in professional boxing, is a boxer, has fights under his belt, even though they aren't great fights, but he still is trained in the art of boxing. So this is the first time that Jake Paul will really fight one of those guys. I think he wins this. And then the next step up is going to be like a respectable boxer. And then I think that's when he's going to lose. But I've watched Tommy Fury fights. He's not good. And as much as, like I said, I don't like Jake Paul, he does have he fights like a boxer. He has boxing ability.
He looks the part.
Yeah.
He looks the part.
He's not just a guy going out there swinging wildly and just has been lucky with a few, landing a few hard punches. He is boxing. What he is doing is boxing. So I actually think he is a better boxer than Tommy Fury, but I think he's going to win this fight. I think the next step, if he then takes the next step further, which, like I said, would be like a boxer, but like an actually respectably good boxer, that's when he's going to lose. But I'll give him credit. He's done this the most intelligent way possible, where every fight it's like a small but like significant but meaningful step up. So I'm now what I used to think this was a joke. Now I'm kind of interested in his career because it is a wild thing to do, to just at like 20 years old just decide to become a professional boxer. So I will say really quick, we are talking about this, but complete side note, Donnavan breaking news in the NBA world. We got to talk about this now. So screw Jake Paul. We got to talk about beers and bow ties. And just let us know. Damian Lillard has opted into free agency. So where do you think he ends up?
So I'm very intrigued with this. So I'm looking at that. So I know that the Blazers were preparing to offer Lillard a 2-year, $100 million extension. So they would be paying him $50 million a year. I think if that happens, he's going to end up in Portland. I know Bradley Beal just opted out of his contract. And so he is now a free agent, and he's probably going to be the prime free agent on the market. However, Bradley Beal is going to stay in Washington because he likes money, and the Wizards can pay him a supermax deal. And Beal, in the 5th year of his contract, can get $57 million. So Bradley Beal is going to stay in Washington. Damian Lillard, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to get traded. He's going to stay in Portland. The Hawks just traded for DeJounte Murray, trading away Danilo Gallinari and some first-round picks to go get him. That's a very interesting backcourt that Atlanta has now with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. They got themselves some defense, which is something that they desperately needed for basically the past 2 years. And now you kind of have 3 ball handlers on that team between Young, Murray, and Bogdan. So I'm interested to see where the Hawks end up. I think they're still probably going to be a play-in team, and they're going to have to fight for their spot to be in either the 7 or the 8 seed. But free agency, is looking a little bit is going to be looking a little bit interesting. And so, our guy Reed Wallach, he's going to be going live on Friday, July 1st, which is when free agency opens. So he's going to be going live at 12 o'clock noon Eastern to talk everything NBA free agency. So if you guys, want to check in on the day that free agency starts and, be locked into all that stuff, Reed is definitely going to have you guys covered with all the news for that. But yeah, I think that Damian Lillard, anything Damian Lillard does, whether it's posting KD on Instagram, it's all going to be very interesting. But I do think that he ends up in Portland at the end of the day.
So the trade was breaking news. Was the Damian Lillard thing already happened before?
Yeah, so Lillard, so it was reported kind of, I think it was either last night or early today. I can't remember in exactly what space it was, but it's been kind of clear that the Blazers are trying to kind of restart this like retooling of the Blazers, and their number one priority is to get Lillard locked up and sign him to a 2-year, $100 million deal. It's going to pay $50 million a year and make him one of the top 5 highest paid players in the league, and try to make sure that they can secure him for their future.
So when talking about the trade, you talked about the Hawks, but like, is this just a move for the Spurs? Like, are they just in full rebuild mode at this time and just trying to get first round picks to build for the future? Is that where the Spurs are looking at right now?
That's 100% where the Spurs are looking at. A lot of the noise around the Spurs has been linked to DeAndre Ayton. I'm not sure if they're going to go and do that or if they go into full tank mode, because next year, the number one pick in the draft next year is going to be Victor Wembanyama. He is a 7'3" French prospect who can do absolutely everything. If you haven't seen his highlights, go look him up. He's absolutely insane. And so he is going to be the gem of the draft. And so what's probably going to happen with the Spurs is that they are going to tank, see if they can get that lottery pick, see if they can rebuild through the draft, get Wembanyama. Greg Popovich is probably going to retire after this year. They're gonna go out, sign another coach, probably Quinn Snyder, and then they're gonna start that rebuild there.
That was my next question. Was like, I mean, Popovich can't stand around for an entire rebuild, right? He's got to be
No,
gone.
no, he's out. He's out. This is his last year.
All right, then let's get to the finale of the show here. We're going to talk game of the night, dive into this game a little bit more. We've already had some community picks for this game. Red Sox against the Blue Jays. It is Nick Pivetta. It is Alek Manoah. Big game in the AL East. Obviously, neither team is in contention for the division title right now. 13 games and 13 and a half games back from the Yankees. But this, if the Red Sox win tonight, with them being half a game behind the Blue Jays, they would then leapfrog them, if I can speak, for the second spot in the AL East. And right now, very fascinating. 4 of the playoff spots belong to AL East teams. Obviously, the Yankees and the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Rays are also in the playoff spot. So, as everyone predicted, the AL East has got to be the best division in all of baseball. Very competitive. Going to be interesting how the division shakes out down the stretch. But tonight is a pivotal game. Alek Manoah, Nick Pivetta. We had someone chime in earlier. I forget who it was. If I apologize, I don't remember who it was, but they said they were on Alek Manoah under 4.5 strikeouts. And I did say that, Donnavan, you had a bet also on Alek Manoah's strikeout total for tonight. So why don't we get into that? Are you agreeing with the BetSided community member, or are you going the opposite way and taking the over?
I'm going the other way from the community. I'm deserting the community tonight. I will be a lone ranger, and I'm taking the over on Manoah's strikeouts. It's at the over is at minus 110. And I'm doing it because, listen, I'm like you. Manoah is one of my guys, and he's one of the best and most consistent pitchers in the game. He's already faced the Red Sox once this year. He struck out 7 in that start, and although Boston is one of the hardest teams to strike out against, they're one of the hardest teams to strike out. They're top 6, I believe, in strikeout percentage this season. But I think that Manoah is more reliable than Boston's lineup. Manoah, he's cleared this line in 4 of his last 6 games as well, and he's coming off a start where he cleared it. So I'm gonna ride, the hot hand. And the community user, and I apologize again because I forgot his name as well. But he mentioned that Manoah is always around this line, and that's where the consistency comes in, is that he's consistently around either 5 or 6 strikeouts. I'll take a chance on him tonight in a divisional game, especially riding a good performance against the Brewers in his last time out. So I'm going to take the over tonight.
Yeah, and I did look up Manoah, I believe, had 7 strikeouts against the Red Sox all the way back on April 28th, so a little while ago. But if he did it once, maybe he can do it again. I do want to give a proper shout out to the guy that you were betting against, a little head to head between you and a community member, Joanne. If we were able to bring up the screenshot of the Alek Manoah under tweet just so we can give him a proper shout out. Here it is. It is Benny, of course, third and Ben.
Which
Like
is
I said, he's a.
that's
Go
that's
ahead.
that's very tragic because I actually love his Twitter name. Third and Ben is very clever, and I really do like it. But tonight, yeah, I think he's wrong tonight.
We got third and Ben versus Donnavan. Big Donnavan versus the community showdown tonight. We'll see who comes out on top. When I am going, the direction I'm going in for this game, though, I mean, I'm not going to. You think I'm going to back a Boston sports team against my Toronto Blue Jays? Not a chance. I'm not even going to take money line. Give me the run line tonight. Let's get a little aggressive in this game. I'm going to take Blue Jays -1.5 at +125. Their offense is absolutely on fire this month. First in both batting average and in OPS this month. Yes, that's better than the Red Sox. Yes, that's better than the Yankees. The best offense in the month of June. Got off to a little bit of a slow start this season. I knew they would pick it up because of just how talented their bats are, and they have been picking it up. And now they are trotting out their ace. Obviously, we have talked about him at length, Alek Manoah. And also Pivetta. Cody Wells talked about taking under on Teoscar Hernandez hits for him to not record a hit tonight because he's only batted 100 against Nick Pivetta. And that might be true for Hernandez specifically. But as a team, Pivetta has allowed 10 hits, 8 walks, and 7 total earned runs in only 8.2 innings in his 2 starts against the Blue Jays so far this season. Cody Wells did chime in the chat, though. I asked him earlier if that was career or if it's this season. And that is career Teoscar Hernandez numbers. He was actually hurt in the first 2 starts against Pivetta this season. So I am fine with Cody Wells' pick. He can win, and I can also win on this one, even if Hernandez doesn't do damage against Pivetta, because the rest of the lineup certainly has and will hopefully continue to tonight. Now, my issue with the Blue Jays is their bullpen, which makes me a little bit nervous to back them on the run line. If their bullpen blows it again tonight, I might be sticking to first 5 bets moving forward. So if you want to, we didn't talk first 5 in this game, but that might be a way that you want to go if you specifically want to back Manoah, because Blue Jays bullpen has killed them all season. I knew it'd be their biggest weakness. As a Blue Jays fan, I hope and pray that they address the bullpen before the deadline, because their bullpen is bad and has blown a lot of games for them. I hope they don't do it tonight. Maybe Manoah just goes ahead and pitches a complete game. How about that? So Blue Jays -1.5 +125 against the Bo Sox. And then finally, we do have the community poll for the game of the night, and they have selected, thankfully, they're on my side. They are on Blue Jays money line. So that means I'm on Blue Jays run line. I will now double down with Blue Jays money line. And Donnavan, you now also have to bet on the Blue Jays. So you're against the community when it comes to Alek Manoah, but you're going to back them with Blue Jays money line.
Yeah, listen, I'm all in on Toronto tonight, and look, their offenses look good in the first 2 games of this series. They're averaging 6.5 runs. So it's in terms of that run line bet, like you said, it's really just going to come down to that bullpen and see if they can finish it out. But there's no doubt in my mind that Manoah is going to set them up to have a lot of success early on.
Love it. So that is our show today. I will let everyone know that we do not have a show tomorrow, unfortunately, but BetSlip will be back on Friday. And we also have that special NBA free agent live stream on Friday for July the 1st. My best NBA free agency memory as a non-NBA guy is when Kawhi signed with the Raptors and led us to the most meaningful championship of all time. Really quick,
traded?
Donnavan.
He got traded? Nice.
Oh, he was traded. Okay. Donnavan, what do you remember? What's your favorite all-time NBA either trade or free agent signing right at the start of the free agency period?
The most memorable for me will always be the fact that LeBron had a whole TV special and to announce where he was going to go, and
taking his talents to South Beach.
Yep, and the night of the decision was the craziest night for a young Donnavan Smoot, who was enamored with LeBron James at the time.
Love it. 23 J Beast chimes in, just says great stuff. Thank you for watching. Anyone else watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, no show tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck with your bets tonight, and we will talk to you next time.